and gentlemen, welcome to the cold and flu season episode of April Word Podcast with your boys, Russ Pass, Peach, and Walt. And as always, let's start with tradition. Peach, are you here? Ah, yeah, that's... Hey, so, oh, I wasn't expecting you to say something, Russ Pass.
That was my excitement.
Yeah, well, as I say, it's the cold and flu season episode because right now I'm just getting over being sick from yesterday. Russ Pass is probably, he might die on the podcast. We don't know.
I'm on the tail end of it.
Yeah.
It was bad yesterday.
Yeah, and Peachy's here, so
Yeah.
This could either be Peach Pit level of excitement, or it could be Matt Fico on the podcast excitement. It's going to be an either or. Don't know. But we are on what episode, Russ Pace? I'm just going. It's going to either be really bad or really good, with like both of us sick.
Which one was the really good one? The Peach Pit?
No, that was the really bad one.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Fico. I love you.
But the what episode are we on? Are we on 44?
44.
44. But Peachy is here. Peachy, how are you?
No, I'm here. I'm awake.
We couldn't ask for anything more on an episode like this. Russ Pass, how are you feeling?
I am feeling wonderful now that I see both of your beautiful faces.
You are not a good liar.
I'm deliriously sick right now.
Yeah. And it's a shame because we have like a somewhat like interesting episode, and you got, reached out there for community input. You got a lot of feedback, which is awesome.
I did. I don't even think you've seen half the feedback I got.
I'm looking through it now.
I'm in like a lot of different wrestling groups on Facebook, and I got a lot of responses on them.
So the feedback is it was a rough week in the wrestling world. Mean Gene Okerlund passed away.
Yes.
A voice of a generation. And Russ Pass had put out there to the various sites, Facebook groups, Twitter feeds, in honor of his death, what are some of, the communities, your favorite professional wrestling interviews of all time? Really good general question out there, and got a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
And I sat there, and so when you post these questions out there, this is just to give you a little deep dive into my thought process whenever we kind of pose these questions. I initially try not to do any research on interviews and try to go to ones off my own memory, like just because those are the ones that must have left like an impact on me. The only one for me that really came to mind was probably Mean Gene specific, is why I was thinking it was the Cream of the Crop interview. And I don't know if that has much to do with Mean Gene more so than Macho Man. Because I don't, Mean Gene was good in it, but I don't think he did anything, crazy or noteworthy. It was more just Macho Man. He puts the cream on Mean Gene's head and spins around. It's just a fantastic interview. But I could not think of other ones. Now, as I'm reading through some of these...
Well, hey. Let's go to them after the fact.
Well, yeah, I'm not touching on one of them. There is one that came up because it was referenced recently on SmackDown this past week. Scott Steiner's math interview.
Yeah, okay.
Peach, have you ever seen that one?
Yes.
What?
I think you just said yes to shock and all you.
That I am in shock at all of that. Dude, what was it? Let's quiz. What was it about?
I don't really remember it, but I remember saying it, and the reference this week was about somebody doing who is it? New Day, saying somebody was doing Steiner math.
Yes.
See, he even caught the reference
from this week's SmackDown. You're the reason why ratings are going up for SmackDown, Peach.
Yeah. Congratulations.
But what do you got, Russ Pass? Let's start with you, and then
my number one, the one I thought of very first out of this, which it wasn't See, I kind of posed it as like, what's your all-time favorite interview? Doesn't have to be the best. I took it more as you did. Well, like, what's memorable? When I think of interviews, what pops up in my head? What can I remember? And and the one that pops up the most to me is Harlem Heat.
Oh, is this
When Booker T calls
yeah.
Hulk Hogan the N-word. And the funny thing is Mean Gene's involved in that.
I was just
right?
about to ask. Mean Gene was in that, wasn't he?
Yeah, and you see Booker T right away notices that he does it, and he kind of like, you know, he almost wishes he could take those words back. You could see, and even Sherry is next to him and kind of like grabs his arm, like she's trying not to laugh. Mean Gene never budges.
No.
If you watch his face during the interview, he does not budge at all. Nothing. He doesn't even pause for a second. He just moves right on to Stevie Ray without a beat, without missing a beat. And it was that one. Whenever I think of famous interviews, that one always goes right into my head.
That is that is so funny. Didn't the New Day just recently somewhat make fun of that one too? I feel like they did.
Did they? I'd have to watch the product to know if they did.
Okay.
PG
I feel like
apparently watches SmackDown more than me.
Yeah. I feel like
I think you do, Peach, because I did not. You at least knew about the reference, all right? So you at least looked up. You see random
up on R
YouTube
Squared
videos
Circle
more
and
than
saw
I
them.
do.
Yeah, it was Squared Circle.
yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go. You pay attention to that more than I do. So,
I'm trying to remember some. There's one other interview, like when you say that one, there's another like interview that it's a Booker T one, but it's not like it's not memorable for the interview itself. It's memorable for what it was starting. It was on the Raw when Eric Bischoff debuted. Jonathan Coachman was interviewing Booker T. I forget what it was about, and you just see Booker T start to freeze and look over to the side, and that's the first time you see Bischoff walk on camera and introduce him, and Booker T does, tell me I didn't just see that. And then that's when Bischoff comes out, but I don't remember the contents of the interview. I just remember it was an interview segment that Bischoff came over, reintroduced himself to like Booker T, and then went on stage, and that's when he hugged McMahon and all that stuff.
right.
The problem is I had, like, thinking about this, is a lot of stuff I was thinking about were more promos than interviews.
Yeah, and I did notice a lot of people, like throughout the different Facebook groups and stuff. I tried not to look too much into it because I wanted to have my own thoughts first.
Yeah.
And the problem is, I posted it everywhere, like late at night. I didn't really put a whole lot of thought into it, and then like I wake up the next day and there's 6 responses in this group, 5 responses in this group, and I want to look at them, and I accidentally seen some of them, but nothing really changed what I can remember, thankfully. There's some people that had interviews, almost like podcast type interviews, or I guess what non kayfabe interviews.
Yeah.
Some people listed those, and to be honest with you, I didn't want to like put this in a bubble. That's why I didn't put on screen has to be, because promos still technically can be considered as an interview.
It's also, you don't want, like, it's like people are like overly thinking about it. It's like you want to get we want the responses. We want the
it's
talk.
whatever comes to mind. That's what I anytime I do pose these questions, I try not to put it into a bubble. Because first of all, you start doing that, and now you get the same 4 or 5 responses over and over and over again, and exactly. I don't want that. But it should be what comes to your mind first. There's another one for me, and I know you were saying yours. The other one you were thinking was a promo. This one wasn't necessarily a promo, but the Austin 316.
Oh yeah, that's
probably
Michael
P.S. Hayes, I think, right after he won the
King of the Ring. It was with
King
him
of the
with
Ring.
Michael Hayes.
Yeah, Michael P.S. Hayes.
Yeah.
That's another one that pops into my mind. Again, the whole interviews do not pop in my mind. It's those portions of the interviews. The same with Booker T. I couldn't even tell you, other than the fact that he's talking about Hogan, what that was even about, other than you see that part of it so many times. Was
it another Mean Gene interview where the sign fell? Like, remember it was let me look it up.
While Walton looks it up, Peach, any interviews stand out in your mind?
Not really. Like in more of the out of the kayfabe interviews of just the wrestlers. Like I think it's always when they can break that and they're not their character, and then they're just talking about wrestling itself. Like John Cena was just doing one where he was saying that, he's getting older now, and it's not his wrestling promotion anymore, and he's looking forward to the next group of wrestlers who are going to take over. And I don't know. I always think like that stuff's a little more refreshing than the in character interviews.
I just posted the Mean Gene one. It was SummerSlam '89. It was Mean Gene, Rick Rude, and Bobby Heenan, and the sign just falls, and Mean Gene handles it like a champ. This is not supposed to necessarily be a Mean Gene specific, type episode we're doing, but man, he just did his job so well.
Yeah.
Like, he had all the right responses. Like, that's the thing. Like, I think interviewers now are not as good as what they were in the day, because I don't think you get the interactions with the wrestlers as you do like you did with Mean Gene, like in that era. The closest I've seen it now has been like Kevin Owens and how he interacts. I forget what the guy's name was. He was the old NXT announcer. They called him Millhouse. Brennan, I want to say his name is. Oh man, I forget what. But are there any more recent ones that you guys can think of that are good? So, Pete, you were just mentioning, like John Cena's. Is it the interview that was on Squared Circle this week?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, like, that was just him. But that's Cena being Cena. It's not like he says the same stuff. One of the more recent ones, and it was a 3-man band interview, is to where they're interviewing, but they mess up and they're like, "All right, just cut the tape. We'll record it." And then they start like fixing their voices, and like the one of them are going like la 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 la, like stuff like that to clear out their throats. And it's like Tom Phillips. It's one of his early ones. He's like, "Guys, we're live right now," and then they all just kind of freeze, and it was absolutely hilarious. And I'm pretty sure it was planned like that. So, but it was pretty funny.
A recent one for me, and most people probably did not see this, but it was when you asked Matt Hardy
that my God,
at WrestleMania. I'm pretty sure I have a video of it somewhere. That was wonderful, wonderful. You were great at interviewing them. It was you treated it like a professional.
I was pretty drunk that day.
It was during the day.
Yeah, it was at like 2. It was at like 1:00. Rich Brennan was the guy I was thinking of. Like, Kevin Owens had some good interviews with him, but Kevin Owens just has that personality that's how he's going to treat his interviews. Jericho did pretty good. Like, he had pretty good interviews with Tom Phillips, and I forget what the other guy, the ring announcer's name is, who looked kind of similar. Yeah, he would keep on calling him the other person's name. Those are always funny. What was I going to say? I forget what I was going to say next. So, Rest Pace, do we want to start going over some of the some of the feedback that you got?
Yeah. The next thing I was going to say, and I think it's kind of like you said with the promos, a lot of the more memorable stuff for me is promos. Like, I used to love the NWO vignettes they used to do. Now, Undisputed Era kind of does the same thing on NXT.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. See, I like Tommaso Ciampa when he does like his solo thing where he kind of like goes into like a truck, the back of a truck or something like that. I don't even know what the hell he's in. But there's a lot more of that stuff that stands out to me. But yeah, let's get on to some of the other stuff. All right, where am I starting from? Since Twitter only has a couple, I'll go to Twitter. I'm not sure what this one's supposed to mean, so I'll just go to the next one. Are you supposed to say the same thing?
I'm not on the Twitter.
Oh.
I was on the Facebook group.
Well, the response is, "Who are you to doubt El Dandy? This guy's a serious professional." Which I think he posted this after everybody else, but I don't know if that was meant for this. I did retweet something about your boy Peach, and that's what I thought this was in response to. The filthy casual Meltzer. I think what the hell is his name? The guys from Chairshot Reality.
Justin LaBar and I know what you're talking about. I saw your response. Justin LaBar is the one you're talking about.
Yeah, where he posted about Meltzer. Meltzer said something about it's just a coincidence that AEW has their thing in Jacksonville a couple hours before SmackDown. It just happened to work out that way, and he kind of. But that's why I was assuming this was.
I'm honestly surprised you didn't want to talk about that this week since it became official.
I did, but I wanted to wait
until we get more info.
Yeah, I wanted to wait until they give out a little bit more information, and I didn't want to squeeze this in and then do 3 episodes on it.
Okay.
And as awful as it's going to sound, me and Gene, he passed away at a perfect time. We didn't have a topic, and it came up with it pretty easily.
Thank you, Mean Gene.
But as far as what was posted on Twitter, we got Friends Talking Nerdy podcast said, here's one of my favorite interviews with JR's Barbecue. And why did I read it like that? With Jim Ross and Mick Foley. What's I get for reading? Foley was always great on the mic. Almost method actor level of intensity. And Mr. Ross asked just the right questions to feed Mick. I love Mick's bit at the end. This isn't the one. Oh, no, Mankind assaults Jim Ross. I was wondering if this was the one. Doesn't he do like the one interview where he's all like 3 faces? He does all
3 faces. Yeah, this isn't that one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking this was at first.
Yeah.
But, okay, he kind of attacks him.
That's he attacks him at the end. Yeah, I forget what this was in, I forget which one this was in build up to.
Yeah, well, it was in 97. Then there is any interview with Macho Man, which says hashtag cream rise to the top. So there you go, Walt. And hashtag cup of coffee.
And like again, that's what I'm saying. Like with like the Macho Man one, I think it's more Macho Man in that one than necessarily Mean Gene. Mean Gene taking him dead serious throughout that entire thing, though, what kind of holds it together.
Well, that's what, and with these, I wasn't necessarily meaning like how was the person interviewing them. It's an interview as a whole, kind of. Because I had a lot of stuff where it was like Rock interviews and Macho Man interviews. Like there's certain people that were just on all the time. The problem with that is they're so good that like barely one stands out.
Exactly.
And that's the thing that almost sucks about it. And then Mike Berry, Fico's insider, he posted Dusty's Hard Times, Jake Roberts from WrestleMania 6.
I don't know that one.
Flair's return with the Horseman reunion in WCW, and Rock and Coach interviews.
The Rock and Coach interviews were always great. The Rock always just destroyed Coach. In any of those interview segments, it's typical Rock.
Yeah.
And like the Coach at the time, and it's especially funny now with the Coach because Coach is trying to be taken like serious and stuff, but he's not at all, and he's terrible. And I'm glad they moved him off of announcing. So is it safe to assume that Fico's response to these questions would be Dusty's Hard Times, Jake Roberts, WrestleMania 6, Flair return?
Yeah. I
nice.
think it definitely would at least be Dusty's Hard Times and the Rock Coach.
Oh yeah. Let's do the Facebook ones real fast because the Reddit ones had a lot. You had a lot more in there. So you posted on there. Our main man, Big Roy, who's going to be on the episodes probably starting next week.
It should be next
hopefully.
week. Yeah.
To do some of our fun Royal Rumble show. He has the barbershop with Jannetty and Michaels. That's a very classic interview segment. What are your thoughts of those like interview segments? Before we jump into these ones, like Miz TV, with the High Jericho's highlight reel, Edge's.
I like them when they don't overdo it. There was a time there where like you would watch SmackDown, there'd be 3 different segments on it, and it'd be like, come on, dude.
Yeah,
like it'd be like 7 minutes long each, like.
Yeah, and then Miz TV would come out, once every week for like 6 weeks straight, and you're like, I enjoy them. I think it's a good way to, further storylines, get shit going. It's not just the normal guy stands in the back, talks to the interviewer kind of thing. But I think sometimes they overdo it.
Yeah, NXT I think does it better. Gives you 2 minutes of it, and it gets the point across when WWE just drags it out.
NXT doesn't have any.
I think it just means interviews in general.
Oh, okay.
Which I agree with you on that, Peach. Is because there's a lot of it's either a solo promo, or it's Kathy Kelly interviewing them in the back, or it's a bunch of people with their cell phones out recording somebody like it's a press conference. Like, you very rarely see on one episode the same thing. It might happen every week, but it's a different person in a different scenario. So that's what I enjoy about it. But to Walton's point, he more means the like the Piper's Pit, the Beefcake, the Barbershop, stuff like that, where now they had, like you said, Jericho. I think the KO show was something for a while, right?
Was that
TV?
Yeah, I forget what the.
But whenever you have all that, because I think at one point it was like the Miz TV, the Cutting Edge, and something else like on the same episode. And it's like you're just overdoing it now.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, that way, Peach, when you said NXT, I'm just like NXT. Nobody has a interview segment on NXT. At least no one does, right? Rest Pass?
No. You know what? Peach was contributing. I found a way to fit it in without looking at you confused, Peach.
Thank you. I'm terrible at it.
That's why you're our host.
Yeah. Roy also mentions Mean Gene with the NWO at Bash at the Beach. Finding out who the third man is.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Dave.
I know, right?
Which it took me forever to realize that it was his last name backwards. I wasn't gonna. When The Rock didn't know his opponent for a match and just did impressions of a bunch of different people, or when he would do his "it doesn't matter what you think" bit. I mean, again, it's just standard Rock fare. Honestly,
yeah.
He hasn't been in WWE for long enough that I wouldn't mind him coming back and doing that. But there was a while, like especially like during like his Cena runs and stuff like that, like recently, that I just got tired of him.
Yeah.
And that's just like the bit was, it just wore on me, and I was done with it. But now that like a long enough time has passed, that I'm like I could get down with it again.
As long as he comes back for about a month and then leaves again.
Or just one time, just shows up at a Raw, and then goes. And then the other one was, or when Triple H and HBK were going back and forth with Sergeant Slaughter, and they broke it, the face shields and wiper blades because of the split.
The spit. Didn't you remember that?
No.
They showed up with the what the hell's that called? The gear, the like police gear.
Riot gear.
Yeah, riot gear, and they had that because Sergeant Slaughter. They would always like wipe their faces when Sergeant Slaughter would talk to them. Remember, he was the commissioner?
Yes.
So they showed up with the riot gear, and they put the masks on. I think they had little wipers on it that they were wiping off the thing when he was yelling at them.
Now I remember it. It.
What kind of fan are you, Walt?
Listen, again, this is the cold and flu allergy season episode of Paperwork Podcast, so...
Yeah.
This one
You're
is
looking for excitement, and you come back to this episode.
this is
Very
the one
lively.
we're struggling through. Hell, you're
It
holding.
sucks too. We've had so many episodes where we're like, I don't know about this topic. This one I was actually excited for.
Me too. It was a great topic, and then I thought it was Santucci's, but it was not Santucci's that got to me.
Oh, I thought Santucci's. I thought they posted a comment.
No, they did not. If
Well-
they do want to sponsor us, they did not get me sick, so we can.
But before you jump to Reddit, since I did, there is 1, 2, 3. There's like 20 different Facebook groups that I posted this in.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm not in those, so yeah.
So I'll kind of jump around a little bit. This one group only had one, and it was anything with him and Macho Man.
Did you also see? And this is just reminding me before we go there. Hogan's coming back on Raw to honor me.
Yeah.
This is
I've seen that.
this is going to be interesting.
They tried to find like a reason to bring him back that they think like the crowd be like, well, no, he can come back for this. You know, him and me and Gene were close.
Yeah,
Like, they're just it sucks.
it's going to be weird.
This other group, Mick Foley sit down and interview with Jim Ross. Which it says in '97. I believe that's the same.
Yeah, that's the
we
one.
went over. Here's only a couple. There's Andre the Giant putting his whole hand over Mean Gene's face, like he palms his face.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Sid asking for a do-over and Gene telling him, "Sorry, buddy, we're live." So apparently that's happened before.
Yes, I do remember the Sid. Because I think it was when Sid was champion, and Sid just looked like he was out there.
Somebody said when Mean Gene said "fuck it."
I think that was when the sign was falling, when the sign fell.
Ah, right. Then there is 3 words. We're live, pal, which I'm assuming that's the Sid interview. Someone else said Hulk Hogan, we're coming for you, which is the one I already
Yep.
pointed out with Booker T. I cannot remember if it was an interview or Austin's co-host, so I will cheat here. The first time he heard of Kenny Omega and was obsessed with how good he was. He sounded mind blown, singing so many praises. It sounded like one of us talking about our favorite wrestler.
That's probably from his podcast.
Yeah, I was just saying, I'm assuming that's from his podcast. Unfortunately, we're reading some of this stuff. We all have not heard all these things.
Well,
so when you start getting on the outside there,
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to, even if you've listened to every single podcast from Austin, let's say, it's hard to remember a lot of this stuff. It's just cool to see where people's mind goes with stuff
when
like
you
this.
hear this, when you hear the interview question, because like when you posted it, like you didn't tell me beforehand, like you were gonna post something.
No.
My mind didn't go to, because like when I think of podcast interviews, the one I think of is the CM Punk Colt Cabana one.
Right.
Where that's
Yeah.
But then I also go to Jericho and Omega right after their match from Wrestle Kingdom last year. They basically broke it down on how it came to be, with Jericho like interviewing him and things like that, which was really good. But yeah, I didn't even think of going to like the podcast real life side interviews. I'm
Yeah.
thinking all these, stage promo wrestling type interview segments.
Well, that's one that even stands out to me is it might have been one of Stone Cold's first one on WWE Network where he interviewed Vince McMahon.
That was the very first one.
It was the very first one. Okay.
Yeah.
I know it was one of the first. And I know it's tough. It's on WWE Network. It was obviously not as
Unscripted as you wanted it to be.
yeah. But I'm pretty sure that was the whole brass ring thing. Where he
Yeah.
talks about how certain guys now in the promotion, they're not reaching for that brass ring. I know it's always been a thing, but I remember like that made like a big deal where I felt like for like the next 3 weeks you heard like from 17 guys on air that they're going to grab that brass ring right after he mentions it. on Stone Cold's podcast.
Well, the Stone Cold podcast ones from the WWE version, the Ambrose one is the one that stands out the most for me. The Ambrose one or the Styles one? The Ambrose one, because the Ambrose one, he specifically calls Lesnar out for not wanting to do anything with him during their WrestleMania match, which, again, as I'm sitting here, I just heard, oh yeah, we saw that match because it was the one in Dallas. But yeah, because they had like a decent feud going. It was like Ambrose got the Lesnar match, no title, and it was essentially supposed to be like a hardcore match because that's what they were building it up, but barely any weapons were used or anything like that, and Ambrose just basically called him out saying, oh yeah, he didn't want to do anything during it.
Right.
And then the Styles one, just because it got into some, legit stuff, like with, how his dad raised him and stuff like that, and then the whole TNA side of things, which was definitely fascinating, which was something I really didn't expect to go deep down into on the WWE Network side.
Yeah. And actually, to finish off this response, it says favorite actual interview might be when Edge interviewed Cena 6 years ago. And it says Ms. Dolph on Talking Smack, but I'm wondering if that's meant to be Ms. Daniel Bryan, which if that's the case, then yes, that one jumps right in mind too. When Daniel Bryan was the
that
he
started
was
their
the
feud.
commissioner or whatever, and then the Miz went off because he wasn't on the that was interesting to see. I think I've even talked to you before about the Talking Smack with Carmella when she was the champion. I always thought those were done really well. She just would come on and just like run up to each one of them and be like, "Who beat Charlotte? I beat Charlotte." And she would just, "Who's the champ? I'm the champ." And just really annoying.
Talking Smack, I don't know why they canceled it. I legitimately don't understand why. It was one of the best things they did to further like character development and like help possibly get guys that couldn't get onto SmackDown, get them a little bit of airtime elsewhere, and to help like Miz wasn't on that episode of SmackDown, and that built an entire feud 6 months, a year later.
I think the one thing they did wrong with Talking Smack, and what they essentially do with Raw every week, they show 17 times what happened in the opening promo of Raw. They show 18 times what happened last week. Like, half of Raw is literally replays of shit that happened last week or this week. If they would have found a way to better incorporate the shit that was happening on Talking Smack on the next week's of SmackDown, instead of showing us what happened completely on last week and what happened earlier tonight, to kind of incorporate it a little bit more, because I know not everybody would watch it, and I felt like it was done. It probably deserved better, like you said. Anytime I watched it, for the most part, I was entertained. But I felt like they could have done a better job incorporating it and kind of showing clips of what happened to kind of further promote it. But I don't know. I could be wrong because I don't watch the show. So for all I know, they were doing.
Just a heads up, if anybody heard just some noise on the podcast, that I was plugging in my Pokeball to charge it, and it made the Poke Center noise, so that might have made it through on the...
I thought Peachy was eating.
Nah, he hasn't eaten yet.
Yeah, candy at 8:30 in the morning.
All right, here's another one. When he's trying to interview the NWO at Bash at the Beach, and the fans are throwing shit everywhere.
Oh yeah, at the end, yeah.
I wonder if that's what Roy was talking about.
I think so too, because didn't he interview him at Bash at the Beach beforehand, still asking who the third man's going to be?
I think it might have, like right before the match.
That's what I was more. I remember that interview specifically, like them, him trying to ask who the third man is.
Instead of him coming in the ring and Hulk Hogan say, "This is the new world order of professional wrestling."
Well, I remember him coming into the ring because it was against Macho Man too, right?
Yeah, it was Macho Man, Sting
versus Nash and Hall.
No, it was a 3-on-2.
That's right.
I don't. Man, it wasn't Luger, right? Was it Flair? That sounds like a weird. You think I would remember this? I know it was guys defending
WCW,
but I don't remember if they would have had. It was Okay, it was Luger. All right, I was right the first time. I was gonna say because Flair being a heel wouldn't make sense. So it was Savage, Sting, and Luger, and Savage got hurt, I think. And then like Hogan came out, and he thought he was coming out to kind of help, and then
then he dropped the leg.
He was the extra. Yeah, that's
what
Yeah, that's more the big moment of that. I realized the interview you can kind of attach onto it, but yeah, the whole him like standing there and Hall and Nash standing on the outside like we don't want none of you, and then him just turning around and giving Savage the leg drop. That might have even been Luger that got hurt. I remember somebody got hurt, and they thought that Hogan was coming down to replace that person. But yeah, all right. So when he interviewed Papa Shango, after the interview, Gene accidentally said, "Oh, thank God that's over," into the mic, and Papa Shango heard it, turned around
Really?
and put a curse on him.
I do not remember that, but that sounds fucking amazing.
If he turned around and put a curse on him, I'm gonna assume it was set up.
Keep it,
Yeah, it was meant to be that way, but
Or it could have just been Papa Shango turning it into improving it. That's funny. Are you looking it up?
yeah,
or?
yeah. I'm sorry.
Okay. I was just like, I was
Yeah, oh no, it looks set up. He kind of walks
okay.
up the stage, and Mean Gene's like looking out into the crowd. And I don't think he accidentally said it in the mic. I think he purposely said it in the mic.
Okay.
Because then Papa Shango turns around and the microphone like sparked after he did it or something. And he dropped the microphone. Yeah, it was clear.
Yeah, that's.
He's got like stuff on his hand now. Mean Gene does. Yeah, yeah. That was definitely scripted.
That's funny.
But
That just sounds.
I can
funny.
see where that stands out for somebody though. I don't remember ever saying that.
I don't either. Well, I did not follow Papa Shango. It's not a. We did see him get inducted into the Hall of Fame though. So.
Not as Papa Shango.
Peach is just schooling you today.
He really is. Sick Walton is not great.
There's way too many just generic. One response is Brian Pillman. Thank you.
Which one?
Ultimate Warrior and Papa Shango. I don't know if there was an interview with both of them, or if they're talking about any interview with either one of them.
The Brian Pillman one, is that? That's
oh my god!
Is that
the one with him with the gun?
Is that the one?
Stands out.
Was that an interview?
I don't know if that was an interview, if it was just like a spot where, because doesn't he break into somebody? Is it Austin?
Yeah,
break into Austin's house.
Yeah,
and he's got a gun on him.
Yeah,
or Austin's going to break into his house and he's got a gun. I can't remember which way it was, but I remember they had Pillman with a gun at one point. Mean Gene and Hogan when Hogan turned on WCW and the fans to start NWO. The Macho Man. Don't miss this Monday Night Raw. Hogan is going to be there live to honor Mean Gene. Okay. His interview with George the Animal Steel at the zoo. See, I'm not old enough for some of this stuff.
I don't remember that one.
I don't even know why I'm looking this up. Let me keep going. Mean Gene's interview on Halloween on Saturday night's main event.
Yeah, don't know that one.
Anytime Renee Young interviewed The Shield, it was obvious her and Ambrose had a thing, but Roman flirted with her hard.
Well, I that never stuck out to me.
No. TNA Scott Steiner.
I think that's the math interview because
I think so too. Isn't that where he starts throwing out like percentages and it just doesn't add
33%. I think it's against. I think it's also against Samoa Joe.
way back to Georgia Championship Wrestling. Gordon Sally interviewing the Nature Boy. I will take their word for it. There's a lot of responses. What? When the sign fell off on Mean Gene, he was cursing.
Yeah,
so that must have been the "oh fuck it" when somebody said it.
Yeah.
The NWO. I'm just gonna start skipping ones. Flair's '92 Rumble. When Andre choked the announcer at Mania, that was
Bobby the Brain, right?
Bob Uecker.
Oh, it was Euchre, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say it was a non-wrestling.
Yeah, it was Euchre. I can't believe I threw Bobby the Brain.
That is his name, right? Just
yeah,
sure.
Bob.
Okay. Macho Man's cream of the crop. I mean, we're obviously seeing a lot of ones. That the NWO one's a good one. You know, I even completely forgot about that. That is a good one that I see popping up a lot. Cream of the cup of coffee. Yeah,
I'm reading. Do you want me to read the transcript for the Scott Steiner math interview?
Yes, go ahead.
Scott, this is just straight Scott Steiner. You know they say all men are created equal, but you look at me and you look at Samoa Joe and you can see that statement is not true. See, normally if you go one-on-one with another wrestler, you got a 50-50 chance of winning. But I'm a genetic freak and I'm not normal, so you got a 25% at best at beat me. Then you add Kurt Angle to the mix, your chances winning drastic go down. See, the three-way at Sacrifice, you got a 33 1/3 chance of winning, but I got a 66 2/3 chance of winning because Kurt Angle knows he can't beat me, and he's not even going to try. So, Samoa Joe, you take your 33 1/3 chance minus my 25% chance, and you got an 8 1/3 chance of winning at Sacrifice. But then you take my 75% chance of winning if we was to go one-on-one and add 66 2/3%, I got 141 2/3 chance of winning at Sacrifice. See, Joe, the numbers don't lie and they spell disaster for you.
Oh, you gotta love Scott Steiner.
Oh my god. I can't believe I had an AIM and email address based off of his nickname.
Oh my god.
Big Papa Nut 3. Big
all
Papa
right.
Nut is your hookup. Holla, if you hear me.
Stone Cold meets CM Punk, hosted by Jim Ross for WWE 13.
Oh, that was real good. It was like the second of their meetings. So like Punk and Austin met, like Austin was hosting Raw or something one night, and it was like the first time they kind of had met in person, and it kind of laid those seeds of a Austin Punk feud. And then when 13 came out, they put them in like this fake interview segment, them going back and forth with each other, and it was really good, and it was hoping for an Austin return to fight Punk at some point, but that never happened. So
No.
it was all just a tease.
Ric Flair J Lethal.
Oh my, the
even though that was not necessarily an interview, yeah, that's so
But-
great.
that oh my god, I was just watching that like last week.
Really?
Yeah, it popped up for something for me, and I was just watching it. And Lethal's impression is spot on.
It always seems to pop up on Facebook. Every once in a while, somebody will share it or something like that, and I always end up seeing it on there.
Because the best part is, it's like very at the end, Ric Flair's like, "That's my line." I forget.
Yeah.
Oh man, them just. It's great, but continue.
Actually, this reminds me a little bit, and it's not really an interview. It was a segment they did on TNA, and I don't know why I'm remembering this. Do you remember Kevin Nash? When he was in
I
TNA?
remember the wrestler Kevin Nash. Yes.
Yes, he had like a group where it was like him. He had Motor City Machine Guns. Like he had a bunch of like the X Division guys in a group with him. And he was like their manager or something like that. And I remember there was one segment they would do where he met them in his office, and it was a bathroom stall.
I do not.
And he was like sitting there, and they're coming into the bathroom stall to come talk to him. It was weird. It was TNA at its finest.
I do not remember any of that.
And they had TNA had such great ideas, ruined by the awful ideas that surrounded it. And it sucked. Like the main event Mafia, I thought was brilliant.
But
I thought it was done well, but when the rest of the fucking show sucks, it's hard to push shit like that. But all right, I'll get off my tangent at TNA. Austin 316, which I'm a little surprised at the first one that I'm seeing of that, other than when I said it.
Again, that's something to where you forget that's an interview segment.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's more of an interview segment than a lot of the other ones too. That's the funny thing about it. The Rock WrestleMania 14 debut of If You Smell What the Rock Is Cooking. ECW, Mikey likes it.
Peach,
ECW connoisseur.
Mikey likes it.
I'm sure it has to do with Mikey Whipwreck. But,
yeah,
Right.
Yeah, because somebody said he didn't have the Austin interview, Hayes did, but the question's not about Mean Gene. Mean Gene also was not an ECW for Mikey Likes It, and I don't think for The Rock either. See, at least this person, he said, yeah, I know, it said any interview. Can't forget the classic Harlem Heat one. Yeah.
I love how that's remembered, but for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Cup of coffee from Randy Savage. There's a lot on the rest of these. I'm seeing a lot of. I'm just gonna kind of brush through. I'm seeing a lot of cream rise to the top. A lot of cup of coffee. Scott Steiner's math. Anyone with Ric Flair. Brett screwed Brett. All right, you want to move on to Reddit?
Yeah, sure. I gotta pull it up.
There's a lot of different stuff.
So
Steiner math.
Yeah, the most popular one for that one is and you can tell this is our squared circle because anytime anyone does a Steiner quote, they put the sirens around it, and I fucking love it. And it's like, they all say all men are created equal. Steiner math. JR breaking down the Three Faces of Foley. That's the one you were talking about, Russ Pass.
Yeah.
Cream of the Crop. Then this one has a couple odd ones. Zandang is Crazy, which is a CZW one, which I honestly have no idea. A Junkyard Dog promo. Again with the Freebirds. Cactus Jack, I heard he was dead. That I don't know.
No.
So this one is good. JR interviewing The Rock and Stone Cold before WrestleMania 17. I remember that one just because I recently watched. There was something of best on Reddit some but what are the best promo packages before a match or something like that, and the My Way WrestleMania 17 one came up, and I watched it, and it was really good, and it had a lot of highlights from that interview, and it was just basically why they wanted to win. Because if I'm right, was 17 the one Rock or Stone Cold aligned with McMahon?
Don't know.
I believe that's what it was. So it was kind of Austin would do kind of whatever it would take to get the championship. I believe that because 15, yeah. And so that was, and that interview segment was really good. It wasn't over the top. I don't think they attacked each other or something in the middle of the interview. It was a really good interview segment. There's a YouTube video. Yep, some random one. There's one that's listed as Kane Dewey. Now, that's one of Foley's things, right?
It sounds familiar. Yeah. Cactus Jack, Kane Dewey promo.
Yeah. I'm glad we did the both same thing and Google search Kane Dewey. So, I think
this is another one Peach should know.
Yeah, it's an ECW one. Peach, do you know much about it?
No, I do not.
I'm excited to see the audio from you for this episode and just see the peaks and valleys.
All right, you done with the Reddit ones? I have some other ones.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, obviously Steiner math is a bunch of them. There was one when he said
So,
"fuck you" on
so
TV.
the one thing I'm like the one consistency I'm seeing from here is the way to get a memorable interview segment is to mess up, drop a curse word, or be Mankind. It seems.
Yeah, that sounds about right. You know, it's funny. Apparently, that guy was not talking about Dave Meltzer. Apparently, that was a Bret Hart interview with Mean Gene. Because somebody else posted it. And, where is that at? It says, like, who do you think you are? Who are you to Dale L. Dandy? Oh, it was at WCW.
So you should know this one, Respace. So what's
Bret
the other
Hart
group?
wrestles L. Dandy. Who the
I have no idea who El Dandy is.
I guess it's just the... he was a cruiserweight? I don't know. Either way, okay. That one completely went over my head. The one I've seen, and actually it reminds me of something else. It's not necessarily an interview. I don't know if you remember this, and I can't remember what pay-per-view it was from, where Bo Dallas was still doing his "You Gotta Believe" run around the ring gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
And Daniel Bryan, I think, had just lost a match, and it was in between matches, and Bo Dallas comes down to the ring, and he goes, "It's okay, little buddy," and he like pats him on the head, and he's like telling him all he's got to do is get Bo leave, and I think Daniel Bryan beat the hell out of him. That was like the point where I thought Bo Dallas was going to get pushed through the roof, like they were putting him out there because Daniel Bryan was on the way up and they're putting him out there. And then I don't even know if Bo Dallas won another match after that. That was like when he went on his losing streak.
I have no idea which one you're talking about.
It was Jared was actually at my house, I think. You know what was it? Money in the Bank. 2014, it was the kickoff, and Daniel Bryan's out there in street clothes, and Bo Dallas comes out. He goes, "Daniel, hey buddy."
Yeah, I still have no idea who.
It was something. Daniel Bryan got hurt and he couldn't wrestle.
No.
And he was like talking to him. Oh, it was when they were combining the titles, I think.
Was that the Money in the Bank?
Yeah, they have it up on a thing, but it was just funny the way he come out. It's like, "It's okay, buddy." Like he's just I don't know. That one always stood out to me. Because I'm pretty sure I don't remember if it was the time you guys came over or if it was the time Jared came over as kids. I remember one time he came over from my mom's to watch something. When Joey and all the kids and stuff were there.
I don't think I was there then.
Peach, you went there one time, right?
Yeah,
I thought it was you and Walton.
But yeah, I don't remember what one we watched.
Yeah, I think it was that one actually. But
So.
okay.
Yeah, now that we're done.
Completely off topic here.
Yeah.
There
So
were
there
a
any?
lot of Steiner math.
Yeah. Again. Like the Steiner math one, it's like I don't know if he just messed up or if that's what he was going with the whole time.
Yeah, or he just couldn't remember. Yeah, I'm gonna guess he had numbers in his head and then he got confused and just went with it. Yeah, there's a lot of NWO Hogan. I'm trying to think if anything stands out that I see.
Is there anything more recently? Like, so it seems like the social media.
It's hard to be newer stuff though, you know. Yeah, now The Rock doing impersonations of everybody, which I think that was already brought up.
Yeah.
When Rollins was WWE champion in 2015 and gets dunked with ice water by Dean Ambrose, and he just says, "What? It's for charity."
I remember the segment.
So, there you go. You wanted a recent one? That's the recent
There
one
we
you
go.
get.
Peach, do you have any recent ones?
No, I feel like Twitter's killed the interview.
Twitter's killed the interview?
Yeah, I feel like everything's done via Twitter now instead of as like a WWE promo. Now they're just promoting them via Twitter.
What do you... How...
Oh, I wish you all right now could see Walton's face. It is like the most disbelief, confused look I've ever seen on someone's face.
I think it's more whatever bug I got is this just confusing me. But they don't do interviews over Twitter.
No, but they definitely do like they further the storylines more with the Twitter now. So
more
like,
with the Twitter. How old are you? 75?
With that Twitter thing.
You know, I use Twitter all the time, guys.
They ruined the wrestling interview with that tweeter. Daniel Bryan and Cena build up to their SummerSlam match.
I remember more that than for the promos. I remember like the big one for their SummerSlam match. I remember was the in-ring promo where Daniel Bryan is "Fear the Beard" or "The Beard is Here" shirt, and Daniel Bryan says he's like, "This shirt is a mockery of your shirt because I think you're a mockery of professional wrestling," and it's just like, oh damn.
Someone also put Rousey against Nikki Bella.
I'm just trying to remember. I don't remember interview segments though.
I think it's when she stood out there and she said something about the only reason she's on top is because of John Cena.
Cena,
like
yeah.
That.
That's side note.
Like one of those things.
I'm already getting tired of the whole John Cena, Nikki Bella stuff coming into the wrestling thing because Becky Lynch just did it this past week.
Yeah,
and John Cena's calling it. I'm just like, all right.
Yeah, he did it right before she could, and then she went ahead and did it. I love seeing his promos when he gets really into it, i.e. versus AJ Styles before the Royal Rumble 2017, and before his match versus Reigns. Cena Rock build up to their first WrestleMania match, which those ones stood out a little bit. I remember, didn't you guys went to
Yeah, but those weren't interviews
Boston.
though. Like that's like those...
I know, but that's the thing. A lot of people have been doing those type of things, which I find funny. That a lot of those ones have been on there, and the one thing that was not an interview, but how has nobody said the pipe bomb? I realize everybody's anti CM Punk now because it's the cool thing to do.
No, come on.
It's the cool thing to do now to be anti CM Punk, but.
Yeah, until
how has that not been on here? There's been some of the most random segments I'm seeing on here, and how is the pipe bomb not on here if you're going to include some of these other things?
Because I think it's just in general, people know that wasn't an interview segment. That was just him doing a promo. Because that's always related in a promo.
Half of these things weren't interview segments.
That one is just so distinctly different. It's so distinctively different in people's minds. Because of the impact that it had, that they know it wasn't, and it's just that it's either way. All right,
I'm shocked because I expected that to find its way on here.
Maybe that's the pipe bomb for this episode.
What?
I said that's the pipe bomb for this episode. You're such shock.
It should be
that it's not there.
I'm upset with the answers. The fact that was not on there.
All right. Do we have anyone else we want to add? Because I want to stop the bleeding on this episode as soon as I can.
So I can go to sleep.
Yes, you could go to sleep. I can go back to sleep. Peachy can get some candy.
And Peachy, I think, sleeping right now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
So,
all right, Peach. Any other interviews you can think of?
No, not really.
I know you contributed a lot, so
I try. I read up on Mean Gene. I know Gene's married. His wife's name is Jean as well.
Oh, tell. There we go. Tell us.
yeah. Tell us about Mean Gene.
I just needed to see some audio. I just need to see some audio from you to make sure that it's not a fake file or something.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, real fast. Bravo to Mike because we had some technical issues last week. Mike got them resolved, no problem.
Oh, there was a lot of problem, but it was pain in the dick.
But you got it done. You got it taken care of
did.
so we could get last week's episode out. Great work with that.
Thank you. I'm a genius. So.
But Peach, let's hear the bio of Mean Gene Okerlund.
He's originally from South Dakota. He went to the University of Nebraska. He was in a band in high school.
Fascinating.
He's married. Like, his name is Eugene, but his wife's name is Jean. He's got a famous son. His son Todd played for the Rangers. Who gave Mean Gene his nickname?
Hogan.
Raspas?
I would guess Hogan.
It's Jesse the Body.
Oh.
So it's a conspiracy theory.
Now it is.
Peachy gets
video
that
proof.
jokes because he likes politics.
And Jesse's just nuts.
Hey.
Mean Gene has Mean Gene Burgers and Mean Gene Pizza.
Where can you get those at?
They're on Navy bases, like in Japan, University of West Virginia, Duke.
Okay,
You
so
go
all
from
of our
Japan-
listeners that are in those places.
You go from Japan to West
They're on
Virginia.
military bases. Yeah, then he died in Sarasota, Florida.
Was he surrounded by his loved ones?
Probably.
Do we have a cause of death? He was probably
kidneys.
listening to this episode of the podcast. Let's be real.
He's got bad kidneys. He was considered. He was excessively drinking for the majority of his adult life. He received 3 kidney transplants.
He seemed like he was drunk sometimes when he was on there, so.
Oh, he just traveled with all them degenerates for so many years.
So, all right. Well, thanks for our weekly bio update, Peach.
Guy.
I'll touch on it real fast.
A
So,
weekly segment, Peachy does research on one random wrestler personality and gives us the info.
you know what? I do like this as a weekly segment, though, to where when we send out the topic, at the end of it, we let Peachy describe what research he actually did compared to what we actually talk about.
Yeah, even if it has very little to do with what we said.
We'll keep that going. We'll keep that going. So it's not an interview segment, but I'll touch on it briefly, just because I haven't watched all of it yet. But Wrestle Kingdom 13. So far, I've watched the Jericho Naito match and the Tanahashi Omega match. Top tier. Exactly as what you were expecting. The Tanahashi Omega match was fucking amazing. The fact that like Tanahashi's in his 40s, he's been doing this for over 20 years. I think he might even be closer to 50. Let me look this up.
Unfortunately, you gave me your user information. That was great. I went on it. I got off of it for a second. I tried to go back on, and they were having technical difficulties.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Only for like a short period of time. It even said on the website afterwards, like we had, like for like I think like a 15-20 minute period, something like that. But at that point, I was already not feeling great, and then I was like, yeah, I can either lay my head down or watch this, and laying my head down seemed more important.
Yeah, Tanahashi's 42. But those two, the Jericho Naito match was the fact that Jericho's still doing what he's doing is incredible. But you can tell Jericho's getting older, and it's getting harder for him to wrestle because a lot of his matches are the DQ style. But he's morphing his style so that he still puts on great matches that tell a great story. just has to incorporate that kind of no disqualification style that you do get with, you saw him towards the end of the Undertaker stuff, because it's a lot easier for them to do those style of matches. But the Omega Tanahashi, not on the level of Omega Okada, but it was a damn good wrestling match. Tanahashi busted out a Styles Clash. They did a sling blade on the apron, which was it was rough.
That sounds rough.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't anything over. It wasn't overdone, but it was really good. I think they mentioned too that this was the longest main event Tokyo Dome match ever. So it was. Being sick yesterday, I was able to watch it. So it was damn good. I'm excited. The other match I'm excited for. There's a great video. So I didn't see it yet, but Okada brought back his shorts. And
really?
there is a funny video, Peach, you probably saw it since it was on Reddit, of somebody, people cheered when Okada took off his skirt thing or his dress pants that he was wearing and the shorts came out. People audibly cheered. Well, there's a meme, I guess, going around of, it was from a soccer game to where someone scored and an entire bar went crazy. Well, someone photoshopped Okada taking the dress things off and putting his shorts on, and the bar just went crazy. And I was just like, yeah, that's about right. It was fucking hilarious. But I really want to watch the Okada Jay White match.
Yeah, that was the match I told you when we talked about it that I was most excited for. So
I was most excited
if any, that's the one I want to see.
The one I want to see is Ibushi, Will Ospreay.
Right.
And that's the. I just wanted to watch the two main event ones, just to, just because they were the main events. So, but I'm excited. Hopefully, I'll watch a couple more of the matches today or tomorrow. So
And
that's about all.
She's right on the ball.
Peach, if you want the if you want my username and password, you're more than welcome to it.
I don't even know what website I would go to.
I can give you the website. You'd have
yeah, I'll be right on that. Don't worry.
All right, really quick before you wrap this up, Walt. Kenny Omega. Where does he go?
I don't know.
Peach?
Dark Side of the Moon.
Okay. Well,
I
the
think,
reason why I'm saying this,
I
Peach,
think he's going to. I don't know. So the one thing I read was that apparently WWE threw an offer out of him, a AJ Styles offer, a couple $1 million a year.
Yeah.
And as much as he probably wants to do the AEW or maybe stay in New Japan. Here's the thing, spoilers warnings just in case for those not keeping up or anything. He wasn't at New Year's Dash.
Yeah, I did notice that.
So he wasn't there, so he's...
Well, the rumor was, at least what I had seen, and again, this is all rumors. We have no inside information. We basically see everything that all the rest of you are able to see with a quick Google search. Was that he was essentially done with New Japan, and that was shown by him losing the title and everything. But they said it's essentially down to AEW and WWE, and like you said, they had a fantastic offer from WWE. Now, the thought process with AEW right now is that Tony Khan, again, reportedly, rumored, whatever, is posting $100 million to start AEW. He's basically and they said that they were supposed to give out competitive contracts to people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, could they possibly pay Omega close to the same that WWE's going to bring him in there, knowing he'll essentially be the face of AEW? I mean, I realize the Young Bucks will and Cody will, but Omega, he'll kind of he will be the guy there if they're able to sign him. And then the whole thought that they sign him over WWE is just going to start people questioning it, maybe, possibly.
I don't know. Like, it's a very hard thing to... Because I'm also, like... Seriously, think if Kenny Omega would be the guy if he came to WWE. Listen. I would question that, but then when I see them did with AJ Styles,
yeah, but you know what's going to happen. He'll come in, and the first feud he'll have is with the New Day. Most likely.
He won't. If it's just him. If it's just him, he won't have a feud with the New Day.
But him and Xavier Woods is technically what that feud started on. It wasn't the New Day and
it was, but it's more built around them. With it, that feud is now more built around the Elite versus the New Day, not just Xavier Woods versus.
I think they'll play off that. I think he'll come in and play off that. I'm not saying
there
he can't
rumors
jump
that
past
they're breaking
it,
up New Day.
Nah, don't believe everything you see on the internet, Peach.
As we are reporting things that we see on the internet.
Yeah,
like WWE offering Omega a huge contract, and
but that makes sense.
I believe that they threw a bunch of money at all four of them. To be honest with you,
yeah,
I believe that WWE offered Cody maybe not the same type of contract, but I believe that they offered Cody and Young Bucks a nice size contract. Contracts for all of them that would put them up there. I think they wanted all four of them. I think they did.
I think their biggest miss is Adam Page. Adam Page was the one. Yeah, but no, I think at some point you'd probably get an Xavier Woods, Kenny Omega feudish type thing.
That's what I'm saying. You can start off there and it goes right in.
I think
if it leads into Xavier Woods, Kenny Omega feud later on, that are obviously not making him the man. No offense to Xavier Woods, but
you could still, but that's the thing. It's knowing your place on the card. Like, it's moving up and down the card to where Kenny Omega is not going to be. Hell, in New Japan, he wasn't always at the top. He was the United States champion for the longest time. But
you said he'd be the man in WWE.
You could still be the man and be below, like.
You consider what Shinsuke Nakamura is right now as being like the man in WWE.
It's different. Like, AJ Styles has been the man kind of since he came into WWE.
Yeah.
Okay. What about his feud with like Kevin Owens when he was the U.S. champ and all that stuff? Yeah. Again, but he has to move around the card because you can't always be at the top. You can't have.
But you're talking about him feuding with Kevin Owens, who's also another guy who is a former champion, stuff like that. Not Xavier Woods, who his biggest claim to fame is being a tag team champion with two other guys.
Yeah, but Xavier Woods could get a United States championship.
And a sex tape with Paige.
You can have Kenny Omega feud with Xavier Woods and not be relinquished to the mid-card or whatever.
I think you come out as a starting off point with that. And have him dominate him.
Nah, I say you.
But you know what? Omega's going to show up at the Royal Rumble, so it don't matter. You heard it here first.
Listen,
you heard it here first. Omega is the surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble.
I'm sure we're the first to report that.
Yes, I'm just going to start randomly reporting stuff and say this is only rumored. This is only because then if it's right, then I'll be like,
do you know what? He's showing up at the Rumble, but if he shows up, he's not showing up in the Rumble.
He's going to show up after the Rumble, like Rousey.
Nope, he's going to show up and interfere in the AJ Styles Daniel Bryan match. That's what I'm saying. If he shows up at the Rumble, if he's going with WWE, he's interfering in that match.
He's in the Rumble. They want the same reaction they got from AJ Styles. Peach, what do you think? What do you think if Kenny Omega signs at WWE and shows up at the Royal Rumble? What spot is he on the card?
Enzo.
You saying the only way he'll get into the Royal Rumble is by buying a ticket?
Yep.
Well, there you go. PT predicts AEW.
You heard it here first. Like, that's the thing. I see him going to Like, I think he probably wants to go to AEW more. It's just that if that's true, like it's at this point in his career, it's probably really hard to turn away that money. And especially because he is relatively younger, he could take that money for 2 or 3 years and then go back to...
Isn't he 35?
Is he that old? That's still... Look at Tanahashi's 42 and just wrestled the main event. Put on a fucking
I know, I'm
clinic.
just saying, because you said relatively younger. I just didn't know what you...
He's 35.
So, I mean, I can see him taking WWE, go in there for a couple years. It's just the AEW thing. I would have bet money that they had him locked up before they started doing this. Like, it made sense for him to be there with them. So it's a little insane to me to see that we're still not sure where he's going, unless it's all big plan.
The only reason
it's all
why
big plan that's going to get announced when they do their thing next week.
The only reason why is like the whole, because if I remember correctly, and I'm probably going to get corrected on this, he wasn't as involved in All In as much as the other guys were.
Right.
Like he's definitely involved, but he was not. He wasn't as vocal, or I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I'm twisting.
It's possible, and maybe that's the point of all this. They said that Cody and the Young Bucks, they put it all together, kind of mostly themselves, and they seen that they're able to do it, and they found somebody interested, and maybe that is the case. But I would think that, like I said, Omega right away gives you like a legit star. And it's no offense to any of the rest of them, but he gives you a legit face of the company from the get-go. Not to say you can't build other people, but if Adam Page is competing for your heavyweight title right off the bat, and I know you love Adam Page, and it's no knock on him, but if he's one of the guys competing for your title, if you got like him and Cody Rhodes competing for the main title, it comes off a little Jeff Jarrett TNA-ish. With his buddy competing against them. And it's not to say Kenny Omega's not buddies with them, but Kenny Omega's a legit name in wrestling.
Yeah.
As far legit as you can be without being a WWE guy, Kenny Omega's pretty much hit that peak. So
yeah, and that's why I'm thinking Omega might want to do WWE just so that he can knock it off his bucket list.
Nah. And who knows? In a couple of months, Vince might not want these indie guys anymore. But right now, we're welcoming everyone and anyone that they did not want in the past. So, Amos might want to take it now, while he's still focusing on XFL and letting other people sign these guys.
So, alrighty. Do we have anything else to discuss?
Peach?
No.
Alrighty, well, we will wrap up the cold and flu season edition of Avonwork Podcast.
That is the name of this episode. I'm not going to put anything in the description other than the fact that we're sick and it's cold and flu season.
Yes, that's fine.
And then people could just be like, I wonder what this is about. I'm going to even put that this is an hour-long session of us coughing.
Oh, man. Alrighty.
Let's see how many downloads that gets us.
So, next week we're doing the Rumble stuff?
Yes.
So, next week, we talked about it a few weeks ago or something like that. We're going to have our buddy Big Roy from Opie and Friends YouTube channel. He's going to join us, and we are doing don't worry, this doesn't sound as boring as it sounds like when I first describe it, a number-by-number review of numbers 1 through 30 in the Royal Rumble. We're splitting it across 2 episodes, so next week we're just going to do 1 through 15.
Yes.
But the fun thing about this, at least the fun thing for us, is the numbers were assigned out. So I know what numbers I reviewed, but I don't know what numbers these guys have. So essentially we're going to start the podcast next week and be like, all right, who has number 1? And they're going to speak up, and they're going to just tell us whatever they want about, who entered at those numbers, any interesting facts associated with it.
Interesting, yeah.
Like,
to be honest with you, one of us could be going 3-4 numbers in a row. We have no clue.
Yeah, I have no idea. Other than I know what numbers I have.
Your mom does.
Yeah, it's been hard not to talk to her about it. But the
and much to PG and Roy's, they're very glad to hear that we dropped numbers 31 to 50 that you, Walton, pushed for.
I did.
And it took us weeks of telling you, hey,
We don't
41
wanna
through
do-
50 has one guy that we could
that
talk
was going to
about.
be a third episode. That was going to be the bonus episode.
That's not a bonus. That's a piece of trash episode, and that's what that would have been.
Whoa. Nothing we do is trash.
That would have been.
Man, gotta have faith in the product. No, but I'm excited for it. I'm excited. I'm excited we get Roy on here.
Yeah,
I
he's
think
been begging us to be on.
think-
We've been trying to find the right thing to put him on here with, because he's more of an old school fan than new school. So a lot of his stuff will be coming out of I guess stuff when he was a kid more than recent events. So hopefully he doesn't get any numbers that the recent events were more interesting.
Walt, I do have a spreadsheet.
Oh man, you got a spreadsheet. Good for you. But no, I'm excited for it. I think the idea is pretty cool, and it should be pretty fun 2 episodes that we're gonna do, as build up to the actual Royal Rumble. With that, I don't think we'll actually have a Royal Rumble prediction show. So
We talked about possibly
squeezing one in.
if we can possibly record that Saturday before.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Remember, we were talking about possibly doing it that weekend.
Well, let us know if you're listening to this. Post in one of our, on the Facebook or something like that. Let us know if you want us to do a Royal Rumble prediction show.
Nah.
If one person likes a status about it, we'll probably do it.
We should
And it will
we'll
just
predict who's coming out at every number. We'll just go across the horn. Then
That way we
guess.
can predict when Kenny Omega is going to come out.
Yes. And PG says at the beginning of the show because we'll be sitting in the seats.
Yes. So, maybe Pete, you can predict what section and seat number he's going to be in. Section, row, and seat number.
What stadium?
The Arizona Diamondback Stadium. I don't know what the field's called. Is it Chase? Chase Field? It's at the baseball stadium, though. Which, honestly, I'm not really looking forward to, but I don't like outdoor. I think it's going to ruin, so if Omega does show up, it's going to ruin the pop that would generate for that, because it's outside, all the sound will escape. So
We can guess what CGI they use for him.
they're just going to reuse all the Terminator stuff from Triple H's entrance at 31. Alrighty, let's wrap it up because we're already done. So
Yeah.
Yep. Look forward to next week's episode. I know we are.
Yeah, hopefully we won't be sick, because that's something we've been waiting for now, probably the last month.
Yeah.
That I've been excited to do. So
and
thankfully we get Roy on here. So
yes,
we've been trying for a while.
but I got nothing else. You guys got nothing else. Thank you everyone for listening. We hope you enjoyed it, and we will catch you next week. Later, guys. Have a good one.
I saw Aquaman last night. It was okay.
Thanks for the invite.